Hello, my name is Boyan Hu, and today we'll be talking about World War One and America's entry into World War One. I'm a little bit sick right now, and I'm kind of recovering, so please excuse my voice. So it started because of a multitude of reasons, and I like to remember these reasons in an acronym called MANIA. M stands for militarism, which is when a country believes that it should have a strong standing army, and that the army should be used to have gains for its own country. Alliances are the alliances that occurred in World War One were the Central Powers and the Allied Powers. The Central Powers were an alliance between Germany and Austria, while the Allied Powers were an alliance between Russia, Britain, France, and eventually the United States. Nationalism is when an individual believes that their own country is the best, all the way from the government down to the culture, and that it should be forced upon everyone. Imperialism is when a stronger government, or when a stronger country, the European countries, took over a lesser developed country. For example, Britain and India. Britain took over India and took their raw materials and forced them to buy products from the raw materials, boosting Britain's economy. The last letter is A, assassination. Assassination of Franz Ferdinand, an Austrian leader, and this sparked Austria to attack Russia, which caused Germany to also attack Russia. And because Russia was being attacked, France and Britain also had to join the war too, and all the colonies that they had. So Germany's plan for the war was called the Schlieffen Plan, where Germany would go through Belgium, going past the fortified borders of France and going straight for Paris, and taking down France. Then it would turn around and defeat Russia. But it failed because of Germany's early mobilization, or Russia's early mobilization. The Russian troops were very ill prepared. They did not have enough training. They didn't have enough weapons. They didn't have enough food. And this just wasn't very good for them. It led to a lot of death, but they still moved anyways. But this also caused Germany to have to respond to it. So instead of sending its full army through Belgium into France, it had to split its army. And having a war on two fronts is never good. Delay in Belgium. So in Belgium, Germany hoped to move past as quick as possible, but the problem was that Belgium didn't want them, resisted them. They had snipers in the towns, and that picked off German troops, and that just wasn't very good for them. And because of all this, the war became a war of attrition, or trench warfare in this case. All the troops are forced to dig trenches to hide themselves from the gunfire from both sides, from either sides, or one side hid from the other side. And because of how technology advanced so quickly to be able to kill, and combat changed so quickly with the evolution of technology, the commanders that were on the field were just not good enough, or were not prepared enough for this. So they ended up digging trenches, and this caused a lot of deaths that people didn't think could happen. And because of these deaths, there were problems. That was one of the major problems in Russia because of the war. Also, starvation and Tsar Nicholas II and the royal family was the leaders in the time of the World War One, or the start of World War One. Then a revolution happened, and Alexander Kerensky took over, and the provisional government came to power. But then they had a major flaw. They didn't take Russia out of the war. And because of that, they were overthrown and thrown into the communist government, or the communist government came into power with Vladimir Lenin as its leader, and who immediately got Russia out of the war. Russia's exit of the war was actually one of the main reasons of America's entry, because Russia and America had very conflicting governments. While Excuse me. While Britain and France both had very similar governments to America. Another reason was the sinking of the Lusitania, or unrestricted submarine warfare. The Lusitania was a British cruise liner, who had quite a few American citizens on board, and was going towards Britain. Right before it reached Britain, a submarine, or a U-boat, a German U-boat, attacked the Lusitania, sinking it and killing 128 American lives. Woodrow Wilson's speeches and his 14 points were another reason. Woodrow Wilson promised that this war would be the end of all wars, and everyone in America wanted to be a part of the war that ended all wars. Another thing was the Zimmerman Note. The Zimmerman Note was a German telegram that was sent into Mexico, but the Americans intercepted it. What it said was it wanted Mexico to attack America, and if they did, Germany would reward them with Texas and a few other states that America had taken from them. The last thing is cultural ties to allies. French and British culture was very similar to the American culture. Also, America wanted to pay back French for the French Revolution. The effect of this was the huge morale boost, because the American troops had never seen war like this yet, and they're very, very excited to go into war. Also, there was a lot of fresh soldiers that were being poured into to fight the war, and this resulted in the Treaty of Versailles, which stopped the war. Thank you.